What's good, family? So mash the like button, subscribe, and lick off the bell. So we got some more breaking news right now. Your man's Tyson Fury has aired out Francis Ngannou playing on his relationship breakdown between Diana Ball White. Yeah, Dana D-Ball White. So again, if you man didn't know, Dana D-Ball White and Ngannou have been going through it over contract disputes. Ngannou wants to be paid more and he wants to fight in boxing. Dana, the D-Ball Gremlin, he ain't trying to pay no one no more coins. Yeah, he fixing to become a billionaire, and you don't become a billionaire by paying out people who are actually doing the fighting real coins. Yeah, how can you expect Dana? All you greedy fighters out there, how can D-Ball Dana get to become a multi-billionaire if he's going to pay you man properly? Get serious now. So, now you know the background. And by the way, to emphasize or to personify the beef between, or Dana White personified the beef between himself and Ngannou by, number one, he didn't come into the ring. Normally when someone wins a fight, a championship fight, Dana will enter the ring and belt the champion up. Dana didn't come into the ring at all today, and also he didn't come to the post-fight press conference. And to be honest, I didn't even see him give any post-fight interviews, full stop. So very odd. You can tell Mr. Dana D-Ball White is super duper mad. So on that basis, this now kind of segues into the Tyson Fury story. Tyson Fury plays on the angst between the pair, D-Ball Dana and Francis Ngannou, and he says, "Congratulations, Francis. But if you want to make some real coin, come see the Gypsy King." Boom. Now we know over the last few weeks and whatnot, Fury and Ngannou have been going back and forth. I think even recently, actually, Tyson Fury was put on notice as some next don. I think it may have actually been a boxer who said that Ngannou would knock Tyson Fury's block off for him. Now listen, I did a video reacting to UFC 270. It was a it was a whopper of a flopper. Yeah? As far as floppers go, this was an absolute whopper of one. Do you understand? UFC 270 sucked. And for me, it really emphasised how much we need to see Ngannou in a boxing ring. Ain't no one trying to watch him roll on the floor with some next big, you know what I mean? Some next bulbous don. Imagine that. Imagine tuning in to a fight with two dudes here who are specialised in striking, and over half, in fact the whole fight, scrap it, because let's be real now, did we see any big exchanges? And do you know what the embarrassing thing is? Think about all the old fights we see. Or think about all the smaller fighters who get in there and get stuck in. You've got the two in the Premier Division, the heavyweight division. Two big dudes who are renowned for striking, yeah? This wasn't Cormier versus Miocic. Well, actually, and the crazy thing is about that was more of a war than this. Yeah? Miocic and Cormier, for the most part, got stuck in. And they was wrestlers. Two big hardback striking dons go in there and play touch butt with Ido Portal. Yeah, 100%. I'm hearing, before the fight, both men, Gan and Ngannou, picked the phone up and was talking through strategy with Ido Portal. Yeah, they were trying to work out touch butt. And in particular, Gan said he was talking about the tactics and the strategy of that little flick kick he was doing. And that was 100% from the lips of Ido Portal. Ido Portal told him, listen, just slap the leg. Yeah? He'll like that. If you slap his leg a bit, you know what I mean? If you slap his leg a bit lighter, he'll definitely like that move. Do you know what I'm saying? 100%. That move there, if any of you were wondering, wait there, why was Gan slapping his leg and not chopping the tree? Oh, he was slapping the leg because Ido Portal had been on the blower. Yeah? 100%. Now anyway, where was I? Oh yeah. Back to this whole thing. Like I said, it's all relevant anyway because Fury call out Ngannou. This needs to happen. No doubt. No one wants to watch big hardback Promethean DNA Don fighting on the floor no more. No more. I don't want to see it. I mean, all that explosiveness should be put in the hands. That's it, people. You tried the UFC game. UFC boring. Yeah? UFC stretched out for good for nothing. I can't lie to you. UFC should really... UFC would be good, yeah, if the ground stuff was limited to 5 seconds with no action. But anyway, let's get back to the point here, people. Fury won Ngannou. And the fact he keeps banging the drum, I think, and I've spoken to people close to Fury, and they're telling me actually, they think there's something sweet in Francis. Now, I can't lie. I mean, Team Fury are probably thinking, or obviously thinking, well, why not? It's a big fight. We know UFC dudes do big numbers. Yeah? Boxing, really. Fury and Wilder don't really do big numbers. In as much as Ngannou will do 600-700k versus a random guy because of the UFC's infrastructure. Imagine if Tyson Fury gets flown into the UFC. That's going to break 1 million pay-per-views, in my opinion. 1.1, 1.2 probably. Big numbers. Yeah? So Fury's probably licking his chops, doing the maths, thinking, wait there a minute, I can fight someone like... Well, to be honest, that's the thing. When you actually look at the heavyweight division, there's not much... I think Ngannou, will fit right in. Think about it. On a serious note, Ngannou versus Fury in 4-ounce gloves, or Dillian Whyte versus Fury in 10-ounce gloves. Who do you back to have a better chance of beating Fury? I'm telling you now, I would not put any coin behind Shilly and Shite. However, I'm telling you now as well for free, if Ngannou and Fury fight in 4-ounce gloves, which it must be, I don't really want to watch a straight-up boxing fight. I want to see a hybrid. I want to watch Ngannou versus Fury in 4-ounce gloves. And if that does happen, I'm telling you for free, I believe the odds will favour Fury. And on that basis, assuming the odds favour Fury, I will bet some good coin on Ngannou. Not for the KO, because I don't know about that, but the bottom line, you best believe the coin for me will be going on Ngannou. Why? I mean, I think the fact that Fury has been, like, for example, Fury from years ago, if Fury was still training with Peter Fury or Ben Davidson, I'd be much less inclined to back Ngannou. But the fact that Fury's running forward these days, you best believe he'll be running forward into a brick wall, because Ngannou ain't no Wilder. Yeah, Ngannou got a chin. That's the first thing. Wilder's chinless. I hate to break it to you, Fury fans. Yeah, you man know. If you don't know, you'll know now. I'm gonna tell you the truth, and the truth is, Wilder ain't got no chin. You can talk about, Wilder's the best heavyweight ever. He got no chin. He got no chin, and his power's okay. Yeah. Let me tell you again. Deontay Wilder has no chin, and his power is okay, and also he has no cardio. Oops. No cardio, no chin, and average power. That's your man Wilder. You Fury fans got way too gassed over how great Wilder was. Wilder is standard for a decent heavyweight. Ngannou has rock solid chin. Although, I'll give you credit, we haven't seen someone actually tee off on Ngannou's whiskers. So I will kind of reserve judgment. But for the main, what we know is we've never seen him staggered or wobbled or anything. And he's been getting kicked in the head and punched and whatnot. That's the first thing. He's got a rock solid chin. But most importantly, Ngannou has everything Wilder doesn't. Number one, Ngannou has he's got the natural size. Yeah? He's literally, Fury is 270 pounds from just lankiness. Ngannou is 270 pounds of natural bulbousness. Do you understand? He got the natural Dianabol going on. He got the natural D-balls flowing through his veins. So, when you see Fury looks good against Wilder, because Wilder's 210 pounds soaking wet, and also Wilder can't fight on the inside. I mean, look at the Gan fight. We've just watched how Francis Ngannou, and to be honest, even against Miocic was a known wrestler, yeah? In that last fight, we actually got an insight into how explosive Francis is. Francis ended up taking down Miocic, I'm pretty sure. I think he may have been the first man to take him down. So, the point is, that shows you how rawly explosive Francis is in the clinch. Wilder was useless in the clinch. That's the first thing. But that's not even the most important thing. The most important thing is, never mind the wrestling aspect, but the reason I give you that parallel is to say that Fury was Wilder's daddy on the inside, both in terms of punches and both in terms of strength. Wilder's 210 soaking wet, no good at inside fighting, low IQ, etc., etc. Ngannou will have the wrestling advantage, bottom line, and he's got the hooks and uppercuts from... Listen, if you think AJ is good at hooks and uppercuts, Ngannou, in my opinion, is another level. And one thing Ngannou doesn't have is he's not a shot fighter. Anthony Johnston He's shot to pieces, psychologically speaking. Ngannou, he hungry, yeah? He isn't rich yet. AJ making 30 million to play touch butt with Ido Portal, whereas Ngannou, he making 600k. He broke, more or less, isn't it? When you're living in that Las Vegas, Miami lifestyle, 600k ain't going to get you nowhere. You can't even buy a penthouse with that. Do you understand? So Ngannou's still hungry. He's still broke. He's still got that mine. He got that, you know what I mean? He got that mining mindset still. Yeah? Even Wilder, you know, Wilder, that's not fair. I was about to say even Wilder's soft, but Wilder wasn't soft. He's just useless. Do you understand? Wilder had 10 out of 10 ambition, but 0 technique, 0 skills. That's what happened with Wilder. Ngannou has everything Wilder doesn't. He has the, like, if Fury, that's the thing. If Fury and the Kronk, if Fury gets gassed, yeah, and goes in there Kronk style, he gonna get chewed to pieces, in my opinion, in 4-ounce gloves. He just will. Even a slow Francis will chew Fury up. You won't have seen anything like it in 4-ounce gloves, I don't believe. If Fury goes in there and marches forward, which I'd expect him to do. Because I'll tell you this for free. If Fury goes in there, yeah, and turns into Ben Davison, Peter Fury 2.0, well, no, he shit his pants, bottom line. Because you had the whole thing is, if you went in there running forward against Wilder, but then all of a sudden, you go in there with Francis and you want to play touch butt, that will prove you shit your pants like Anthony Johnston. That's the bottom line here, people. We're going to be consistent, yeah? When AJ went in there against Ruiz in the rematch, he shit his pants, yeah? Now, I'm not saying, I mean, the chances are, if Fury retains the Kronk guy, then the chances are he's going to go forward, and I respect him for that. I'm just making it clear now, so we're all clear. We're all clear, yeah? If Fury does go in there with Francis, and all of a sudden you see him trying to pull off the Peter Fury Klitschko style, or the Peter Fury versus Klitschko style, then we'll know that his back end's been flapping for the whole camp. I want to see Fury go in there and implement, because that's how we'll know how good Fury is. Now listen, I'll take this for free as well, equally. If Fury goes in there and marches forward Kronk style against Ngannou in 4-ounce gloves, and he wins, and he actually knocks Ngannou out, that for me will be one of the greatest boxing performances in the history of the sport, bottom line. If he goes in there, yeah, and just walks straight forward and moshes and does, basically, yeah, if Fury does what he did against Wilder, against Ngannou in 4-ounce gloves, because to be fair to Fury, what we don't know is, and that's one thing I've been begging for one of these boxing guys, yeah, one of these boxing promotions needs to innovate the sport. Why hasn't anyone introduced the 4-ounce gloves to the sport yet? I don't get it. Look at the UFC's model. It's much more exciting, and I think it's actually safer, because a lot of the reason people get brain damage, yeah, is because the gloves are so padded, you can't put people out. It's blunt force trauma, whereas when you've got them 4-ounce gloves on, go straight to sleep, which is actually safer. It's better to take one shot and go out than it is to be pummeled and pummeled and pummeled. That's the first thing. The second thing is, it also means people can't, like we hear about that, people talk about putting their earmuffs on and hiding. For example, watch Usyk versus Gassiev. Gassiev just stood there, put his guard up and just stood there, and was able to hide behind his guard. In 4-ounce gloves, you ain't hiding nowhere. So it actually exposes people's weak defense. And it means that there's nowhere safe. Which is how it should be. That's how you're really testing how good you are at boxing. Really, it's a bit of a cheat move. Like when you see Alvarez, I'm not knocking it, I'm just saying. And Alvarez could compete either way, but putting the high guard up, it's a bit, it's like, you know what I mean? It's putting high guard up in 10-ounce gloves, it's almost like a hack. And that's why it's embarrassing. Most people don't do it. But anyway, the point is, 4-ounce gloves must happen. And on that note, I've given Francis a lot of credit, but I was about to say, what we don't know is if Tyson, or what it's going to be like a real boxer punching in 4-ounce gloves. We've never seen that before. Now, I'm not saying Tyson Fury is the biggest puncher ever, but we know he knocked Wilder out. No one could do that before. And again, I don't rate Wilder, but the point is, he moshed Wilder half to death twice. And Wilder is the best. Wilder is certainly the top 5 of the bunch at the moment. So it's worth something. He moshed Wilder to death, yeah? So imagine that 10-ounce glove moshing in 4-ounce gloves. So we don't know it. We haven't seen Ngannou hit by a striker. We certainly haven't seen Ngannou hit by a real boxer in 4-ounce gloves. A heavyweight boxer at that. So all these different things, that's what makes it exciting. Whilst I'll be backing Ngannou to win, It opens it all up. And the great thing is, I believe both men are warriors. Well, we know Fury is a true warrior. He will get up and get up and get up if he can. Ngannou, I can't give him that full warrior credit yet. We haven't actually seen him. It's one thing getting wrestled to death by Stipe. It's another thing getting up off the canvas after you've been rocked and whatever else. Maybe, listen, I wouldn't be surprised if Fury isn't the one to do it. Yeah, there's no telling. But either way, all these questions need answers. And I don't know why, well I do know why. Dana's probably scared of his guy getting whooped, but listen. Well, the thing is, Dana brags about, oh, we don't need big stars. There was a time in fact Dana to this day says we don't need stars, we create stars. Well, if that's the case, why not let Francis gamble? Because Francis ain't going to be going in there to lose, is he? Francis knows, yeah, if he loses against Fury, that's going to be what you call a one and done. Yeah? Francis's escapade into boxing only works if he wins. If he goes in there and loses to Fury, then there's no AJ fight. There's no whatever fight, is there? So it makes sense. Let Francis go and make history. Because think of the flip side. It's all well and good talking about the risks. Oh, well, he may get beat by Fury. Imagine if he knocks Fury out. Imagine the clout you get. Yeah? UFC champion, who isn't even a real boxer as such, knocks out the best heavyweight of the last 20 years. Yeah? That's what Dana should be concentrating on. He should be concentrating on getting Ngannou prepared for that. I think they should do it in the octagon. And I think they should do it... Well, to be honest, I'm not really bothered. Whether it's in the ring or whether it's in the octagon don't matter to me. What does matter is the 4-ounce gloves. I don't want to watch it in boxing. That's boring to me, personally. And I think it takes away... It gives Fury more advantages. We want to make sure it's balanced. If Ngannou's taking a risk going into boxing, it needs to be balanced. At least he needs to have the gloves he's used to punching in. And like I said, to be fair, it works both ways. Both men are going to have the advantage. And for all we know, there is a probability that Fury's going to put them gloves on, and all of a sudden... Because look at McTapper. In fact, McTapper is the best advertisement for 4-ounce gloves. What do we know? Well, McTapper in 4-ounce gloves. In the prime of his career, everyone he touched would go to sleep. Next thing you know, he gets in there with Floyd, and he can't punch for toffee. Now, yes, he was kind of off the boil. By 2017, he was about a year or two outside of his prime by then. But, don't forget, we'd seen him light up, what's the guy's name? Eddie Alvarez. He got lit up. Yeah, he couldn't hold the shot. And even Nate in the rematch, McTapper put him down a few times. So, McTapper was clipping dudes with 4-ounce gloves on. He goes to boxing, and he didn't even stumble Floyd. And I believe most of it was to do with the gloves. And the other part of it was to do with, obviously, the fact that there is such thing as boxing chin. Boxing chin is where you're used to taking shots from strikers. And Floyd said, listen, Conor, you're not a boxer. You don't have to, you have the MMA ding in 4-ounce gloves. You don't have the 10-ounce ding. And to be honest, when you look at boxing, look at people like AJ, yeah? AJ, he's never really had the ding, has he? And that shows you how detrimental 10-ounce gloves are. 10-ounce gloves. Look at Ngannou. Ngannou in 4-ounce gloves, yeah, he doesn't have necessarily snap. He's got that. Ngannou and AJ are very similar. They've got that bludgeon. But you can see the difference. AJ don't put no one out in one shot. Because it's, I don't know why he doesn't, but he doesn't. That's because of the gloves, I believe. But if you put AJ in 4-ounce gloves, he'd be putting people out like Ngannou does, in my opinion. It's just that sharpness, that sting gets dampened in them big gloves. And really, when you think about it, even Mike Tyson was the same to some extent. Mike Tyson didn't really put people out in one shot. Yes, the occasional guy could clip with one shot, but in the main, it was bludgeoning. Same as Alvarez. Here's another one. Yes, he can put out Mr. Khan wafer chin, but you know what I'm saying? It's very hard in 10-ounce gloves. I guarantee you put Alvarez or Mike Tyson or whoever else in 4-ounce gloves, these dudes will be dropping like whatevers. And I'm not sure why more people ain't ringing the bell and trying to bring this in and innovating the sport. The sport's currently dying, that's a fact. And this could be literally what changes it, because I guarantee you, we'd see boxers down at £118, knocking people out, spark out, in them small gloves. Much more action packed, etc., etc. Anyway, listen, I want to see this fight. I mean, look at the boxing scene. For me, my guy Anthony Johnston, he finished. So, when you look around, Ngannou, for me personally, is the next hope. Yeah, he's not rich, he's not soft, he's not chinless, he's not a complete bodybuilder. He's a bit of a bodybuilder, but he's not, you know what I mean, he's not like AJ, just bodybuilding for the sake of bodybuilding. Ngannou's on his job, I believe. Yeah? Here's the next one. Wilder was never no good anyway. AJ, too soft. Yeah? AJ, brand new. We need Ngannou. And it's a shame that Dana is trying to be all in the video. I don't get that. It's annoying. Think big, Dana. Because it's a gamble, but the gamble pays off. You end up having the guy who beat the best boxer in the world. That's just pure clout, I'm afraid. And that will translate into, I believe, let's say Ngannou's doing 600,000 pay-per-view buys, yeah? I believe a win over Fury, especially if you knock him out, that will take Francis into that million pay-per-view thing. And to be honest, even if he loses, you've got the built-in excuse of, oh, well, he lost to a boxer. The best boxer in the last 20 years, you can say. And don't forget, look at McTapper. McTapper lost to Floyd, yeah? And he got stopped by a man who never can punch. In fact, that's the best example. Conor McTapper got stopped by a man who had never stopped no one in 50 years. And he never lost his star power, really. Yes, Conor McTapper's star power has diminished because he don't win no more. Not because of the Floyd loss. So that in itself, I'm not sure, that for me really proves that. I don't know what Dana's beef is. It's illogical. Ultimately, I think D-Bowl Dana is just he's power crazed, isn't he? He wants all the control. He wants control. He wants to be the big boss. He wants to be the big hard ass, rather than doing what's right and what's fair and what generates the numbers. Let's be real now. There ain't no UFC guys, apart from maybe the John Jones fight. Take out the John Jones fight, yeah, there's no one who can generate Ngannou versus Fury numbers. In fact, I'd say Ngannou versus Fury is double the next best option for a Francis outside of John Jones. And there's no telling we're going to get the John Jones fight. Do you know what I mean? Come on now, get serious. But yeah, I want to see this fight. To be honest, this fight is what both sports need right now. Both sports at the top level, i.e. heavyweight. Both heavyweight sports are a bit thin. Because even if you think about Usyk, yeah, Fury versus Usyk doesn't have the optics that Fury versus Francis has. Do you understand? And to think that I'm not being funny here. I'd much rather watch Francis versus Fury in 4-ounce gloves than I would want to watch both Dillian versus Fury. In fact, all of them. Bottom line. I don't want to watch AJ versus Fury, Dillian versus Fury, or Usyk versus Fury. They're all kind of dead to me. The Usyk fight would be boring. Dillian fight, boring. AJ fight, boring. The Ngannou fight, that's the one, truth be known. No doubt.